The Constitutional Court, cold on the stroke of midday, did indeed annul the outcome of the presidential election, which of course was narrowly won by the Green Party affiliated candidate, Mr. van der Bellen, who won by less than 30,000 votes, or just around 30,000 votes. Their reasoning was that the challenge made by the far-right party that there had been irregularities, that the law had been broken in enough cases to raise the possibility that the outcome might have been affected. They found that to have been a valid challenge. Now, what they found as well, after having questioned various witnesses and various people involved in counting the votes, was that in thousands of cases, in cases involving thousands of votes, the votes, particularly mail votes, were opened early in many instances, that they were opened not in the presence of the full electoral committee, and in some instances were opened by people who were actually not authorized to open them. Now, while there did not emerge in the course of this Constitutional Court case any concrete suggestions that the vote outcome had been manipulated, the Constitutional Court judges made very clear that they were obliged by their legal thinking to order a rerun of the vote, simply because through this irregular counting of the votes, the possibility had arisen that manipulation could have occurred. And so what we're looking at now is a rerun of the vote in a highly charged political environment here after the summer in September or October. Of course, as I mentioned, the vote was very, very narrowly won by Mr. van der Bellen by just over 30,000 votes. And so we can expect a politically charged climate leading up to that vote, which may well be the first national vote in an EU country following the referendum in Britain and, of course, the outcome of that.
Indeed, Anthony, of course, the climate within this whole situation taking place is quite unique. Have we seen something like this happen before there in Austria?
Well, nothing on this scale. There is legal precedence for ordering a rerun of an election based on similar findings. In fact, just a month ago or so, the Constitutional Court, the same Constitutional Court, found that a local election in a district of Vienna had to be rerun for similar reasons. It found that the counting of the votes was in many instances done in an irregular manner, and that raised the possibility, although there was no proof, that it raised the possibility of manipulation. And so they said that that vote needed to be redone as well. And that was seen by many observers of this more high-profile case as an indicator that the Constitutional Court was going to rule in a similar fashion with respect to this challenge to the presidential vote on a national level. It's interesting as well, in the course of the questioning of participants, that one of the judges made reference to a case dating back to just under a century, right in the early stages of the Constitutional Court, noting as well the difference between the legal parameters for annulling a vote and any kind of political context. So in the early phases of this Constitutional Court case, many people perceived it as highly unlikely that the Constitutional Court would annul the outcome of such a tight vote. But as they questioned the witnesses, as they questioned the people in the various provinces around Austria who were responsible for overseeing that vote counting process, including members of electoral commissions, it fast became clear that the law had, in fact, in many instances been broken. Of course, the participants claimed that this was done not with any intention to manipulate the outcome, but simply because they felt under pressure to count these mail votes as quickly as possible. So in many instances, the counting started on the day of the election itself, which was a Sunday, when in fact the law states that the counting of mail votes needs to begin the following day at 9 a.m. And then there were a number of electoral commission members in a number of provinces who said that they signed documents saying that they were present for the vote counting when in fact they weren't. As soon as that testimony emerged, even in the absence of any concrete indications of manipulation, then the mood and the sense started to swing, and it began to become clear that there was a very high likelihood that the Constitutional Court would in fact rule to annul the vote. Nonetheless, the outcome does come as a shock for Austria. That was a highly polarizing run-up to the vote. We saw polarizing of attitudes online. There was real political division in this country between the supporters of far-right candidate Mr. Hofer and the Green Party-aligned candidate, Mr. van der Bellen. And so now the concern is that that polarization is going to come to the forefront again right through the coming 2 or 3 months in the run-up to that election. And of course, what is also not clear is who is actually going to win it. The outcome was so tight, just over 30,000 votes separating victory for Mr. van der Bellen from Mr. Hofer, that the outcome is anything but certain.